Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are doing breaking away from horror for a change to review a fantasy. So what's it called?
Well, actually, it's a fantasy romantic comedy.
Yes.
It's actually Brazilian. It's actually in foreign language with subtitles. Mm-hmm. It's called Perdida, Perdida. It's 2023. I normally talk about availability at the end, but I'll talk about it now as well. It's not available on eBay or Amazon or anything. It's on Star Plus and Disney Plus and on YouTube. I'll mention that again later on. It may come out, when Disney and Star Plus decide to let it loose, so who knows? Might be on some other streaming services, I do not know. Anyway, here we go. It's called Perdida, Brazilian romantic comedy, like I said, fantasy, 2023. Now,
Is there another name that it goes by, so people know at home where to find it?
No, it's perhaps probably going to be under the Brazilian name.
I see.
That's what it's called. A translation is Lost. I don't think Lost is being used in the promotion of it. Now, production. Right. Magali Zenko, I think. Fernanda Mandriola and Andre Scuff. There you go, I'm pretty sure. Directors, Catherine Chedziak. It's Catherine Chedziak Putnam, Louisa Schelling Baldini, and Dean W. Law.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen a production or directorship done by three directors instead of one.
Well, we could have a situation where you got different locations.
Yeah, there's that too. Considering
unit
that
1, unit 2, unit 3 sort of thing.
You have ones that take place in the past and others times in the present.
There might be 2 locations, so it was easy to have 2 people doing it.
True, or in this case, 3. Go on.
Well, there you go. Okay, the book, it's been based on literary work called Perdida by Carina Rissi.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, guys, but sadly I don't seem to find it anywhere, especially an English copy of it, obviously.
Probably not going to be an English copy. It's in whatever they talk in Brazil. It's Spanish, I think, or something. Whatever. What have we got here? I'll go for the actors now. They went straight to Star Plus and Disney, so there's no box office stuff, and I have got no idea how much it costs to put it together.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go, the cast. And please bear with me as I struggle through these foreign names, because I'm not very good at these sometimes. Here we go. Giovanna Grigio plays Sofia Alonso. Bruno Montaleone plays Ian Clarke. Luciana Pais plays Abigail. Bea Arantes plays Theodora Mura. Natalia Facao plays Elise Clarke. Amira Sophia as Valentina Albuquerque. Interesting that. Sergio Malheiros plays Lucas Almeida. Helio de la Pena plays Dr. Almeida. Diego Montes plays Santiago. Lucia Lins plays Mrs. Albuquerque. And Amanda Mendez plays Annalise. There you go. I think I got through pretty safely then.
Yeah, you pretty
It's very hard when it's not your native language. I can't think of anything else to say because I've got nothing to talk about. Whatever.
Anyway, so before we begin in the story side to it, I should tell you guys this is a cross between Lost in Austen and Cinderella approach to the
It's a bit of a time slip, that sort of stuff.
So,
it's like, what's that one where the girl went through a closet door or something rather than end up in the past?
let me think, which one was
Lost
that?
in Austen? No.
I'm thinking. This is.
Is it one?
Yeah, I think that was Lost in Austin.
Yeah, Lost in Austin. Yes, he went through a door in a bathroom or a bedroom or something, and ended up going back 100 years or so.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
in ages,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I mean,
Same sort of idea.
yeah. Only, of course, in this one, even though this girl in the character in this is obsessed Jane Austen fan, she doesn't go back into Jane Austen's world or anything like that. She just goes back to the period it's set in.
The Regency period, you call it?
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Yep.
so...
Anyway, I've got no more to say. Do you want to start talking about it?
Sure. So the story begins where we meet Sophia, who has works at a publishing company, and she's got this idea of making a special book of Jane Austen's works in a special, very big encyclopedia style book.
Like a compendium, like an anthology type book or something,
Yeah.
or lots of different stories. Yeah.
Of course, when she presents it to her colleagues, they object to this idea because they think modern love has been done, is old, and love is, they just think that it's old-fashioned, and that they just think about modern ways of dealing with love, hooking up, online dating, catfishing, stuff like that. And of course, Sophia, she's not in a dating relationship. She got one of her colleagues approached her earlier before this happened to ask her out, but she said no. And he kind of turns the tables on her and says something nasty about her work, saying that everyone nowadays likes 50 Shades of Grey. Even though it's a different type of romance, obviously, if you can call it a romance.
Well, that's more just sex. I mean, honestly, it's...
Yeah, it's just one...
I mean, look, some people like it, but I mean...
Some people like it, others not so much. Anyway, they walk off and leaving her alone. And of course she bumps into... Before that happens, she bumps into a lady who wishes to present some work to the publishing house, which is in a big bundle,
And she couldn't get in.
Yes, so she leaves the package with Sophia, and she forgets about it. And soon enough, she meets her friend, Nina, who announces to her that she's going to get married to a guy who's going to off to Australia to work.
Hey, we're there, aren't we?
Yes, and Sophia thinks this is not a good idea. Why can't you just stay here and be together here? But Nina wants her support because she thinks this is the real deal. This is real love. But Sophia just they sort of separate. They go their separate ways. This later on they do eventually work out. Later on, soon enough, Sophia's in a taxi, where she meets the same lady who was at the publishing house before. They talk about Jane Austen, about Pride and Prejudice. I don't know why so many people often talk more about Pride and Prejudice and less about other Jane Austen books. She did more than just one,
know,
for
but
goodness sakes.
It's one of the more popular ones, probably, that people can identify with.
Anyway, she asks to borrow the lady's phone, and when she heads off to her next client, she goes to her building, and as she gets bad reception by this phone, and somehow, magically, as she's heading up the stairs, because the elevator was not working, she ends up transported
She walks upstairs and down a corridor, and there's a faint light going on, and she walks out through a door, and she's not there anymore.
Yeah, she's inside a
bell tower.
A bell tower in an abandoned chapel. And
there's no way to get down?
Yeah, like the whole door that she just came through is blocked by brick or wood.
There's no door. She came through a door which wasn't there. And
anyway,
the only way they would have got to the bell tower was up a ladder.
She spots
which isn't there anymore.
A black horse, and she also spots a man named Ian Clarke, who is chasing after this black horse. It's called Storm, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, she kind of waves to him saying, "Hey, I'm up here. Can you get me down?"
Please.
And so she uses the rope from the bell to get herself down, but then there was not enough rope, and she ends up falling and knocking into him, and they end up tumbling to the ground.
What a good intro, hey.
And then soon enough, she's back at his place, and he's a nice gentleman and this is taking place back in the Regency era sort of area, where we meet his sister, Elise, obviously, a beautiful girl who's...
yeah, she's quite pretty, yeah.
Of course, our heroine in this is dressed in the same outfit she came in, wearing a leather jacket and just a nice
pair of jeans on top, wasn't it?
Yeah, and sneakers. You know the ones. I mean, you may have seen the poster.
Yeah, nice red sneakers with white bottoms. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, he's attracted to her, and of course, he's also being propositioned by two other possible other girls.
Yeah, he's on the market. You're of age. You must take a wife. That sort of stuff. Yeah.
The other one was Theo, and the other one is Valentine. Is that right?
Valentina.
And both girls, very beautiful, very good looking.
I wouldn't say no.
And, of course, Valentine's grandmother wants her to be paired up, with him. So she gets her granddaughter dressing in whatever the guy's favorite colors are.
Yeah, it's very good. She's been down the road before, I think.
Yeah. Of course, Sophia is offered to stay the night, and here Ian gives her these nice dresses and stuff to wear to dinner, obviously. There she makes the introduction to Theodora and to Valentine, and of course she tells them what she does for a living. They're so shocked when they find out she attended university, and she.
No one did that back in those days. Especially a female.
Yeah, because women would not have been allowed. Obviously, maybe there would have been a few. Here.
Sexist.
Anyway, so soon enough, as she gets the phone that she got from the lady, obviously, starts ringing, and she picks it up, and she finds out that she's been transported back in time.
Yeah,
and
funny, though.
Because this woman, this woman wants her to show her that she can probably find love and stuff like that. And she says
you're still sort of against love and relationships and stuff because get in the way of her. Work and different things and lifestyle. Yeah.
Anyway, she eventually tells her that if you have any issues being in that period, then the person in question will take you back to the present.
Or a special person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she doesn't.
Who she would recognise or something. Yeah.
But she doesn't reveal the identity of this person.
So she had to guess.
The phone ducks out, and soon enough, she eventually the next morning she meets a nice fashion designer who's designing a dress for Elise's coming out party. I think that's a term. Is that right? One of those party
you're
things.
breaking out. You're coming of age, sort of debutante
one of those
ball type.
things.
Yeah, one of those sort of things. Yeah.
One of those things that means, in other words, you get to meet eligible men and hopefully dance a few and probably find a good husband along the way, if you're lucky.
Matchmaker, make me a match.
Most likely.
Whatever.
Exactly.
I can't sing. Blah blah blah.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, so she meets the French lady is also acquainted with this other man that's named
Santiago,
who is supposedly might be the mysterious man that Sophia might take her back to her time, but we don't. But again, she doesn't know.
He's a bit of a red herring, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a red herring anyway.
Or pink herring, or.
She's most of the time the girls think she's infatuated with him or interested in him, right?
Nah, well, they think she is, but she's only wants to. Or escape clause, hey, come here.
Yes. Anyway, soon, and also Elise has her eyes set on the nephew's nephew. I mean, the doctor's nephew, who's the doctor that examined Sophia earlier, who has a nephew that's probably studying and hopefully going to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Alameda, he's the son Lucas, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she has her eyes set on him. And, of course, there's a bit of a language barrier with Sophia and Elise here because she says things like crush and stud and other words that don't really
have no relevance back in those days.
Because there's no word for, aside from handsome and handsome, that's the only word they know.
Well, she's a comely wench. That's funny ways of talking.
She bonds with Ian by riding his horse, or one of his horses, and they do also arrive at a nice spot his mother loved.
Yeah, mother used to love you.
A beautiful ravine that looks so beautiful
it's a
and
nice
picturesque.
overlooking ravine or something rather. Yeah,
it's so pretty.
High on a cliff.
Yeah, it's so pretty and beautiful. Yeah. And I will be if I had I wouldn't be surprised most of this was really filmed on location somewhere.
Probably location shoot.
Yes,
yeah.
I really like it when they film on real locations and stuff.
Well, it did look like a studio to me.
Yeah, she
Or
also
AI.
she also meets the horse, a black horse named Storm, and of course he's friendly as a kitten.
She walks up and says, "Hello, horsey," and
Of
pats him
course,
on the nose.
he
not bad.
makes his daring escape from them, and of course, Sophia decides to stay a few more nights with Ian and his sister, and they also attend the ballet where she meets the hot Santiago and finds that he's got a mobile phone in his possession.
Well, no, it looks like
a mobile phone, but we don't know that. Anyway, when they're attending the ballet Cinderella, I think it was
Cinderella Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, so it looked like Cinderella.
I think it's Cinderella, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she also mentions it being Cinderella, and while she's watching Santiago walking off to the backstage, probably to proposition a ballet dancer. I don't know.
Who? Yeah, he got a few bucks.
Yeah. She follows him, unaware that what he's getting up to. But luckily enough, Ian stops her before it gets awkward. And she thinks that he tries to convey the fact that Santiago is the one who's going to take her home. But and he thinks that she's interested in him, so he invites him to his sister's debutante ball thingy.
Whatever.
Yeah. Later on, as she eventually sees a painting of herself that Ian created. Aside from his love for breeding horses, he also likes painting in his spare time. And here it gets kind of romantic and a little bit like something out of a romance novel, which is probably
it was a romance novel.
I meant like one of those serious romances, like the Bridgerton style, where you end up getting hooked up. And of course, back then, if you really did hook up, you could
hook up and knocked up. Hey?
Hooked up or knocked up. It does happen, and not to mention the fact if someone did do that, it would be a bit of a scandal. And
oh, how rude.
Yeah.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Ian thinks that they should have not done this. It's not right, and he knows it, obviously. Anyway, soon enough, when she's alone again in his office, she runs into the same lady she met in the taxi and in the publishing company, who is dressed in ordinary Victorian Regency era clothing,
very
obviously.
Nice clothes, yes.
And she remarks to her about how that not to reveal any such details like coming from the future, because that would mean either she'll be placed in a mental institute,
or deemed to be a witch or a nut. One or two. Take your choice.
Yeah, Theodora overhears, and of course, Sophie brushes off and saying, "Oh, I just been talking to myself." And of course, she has her hooks in Ian. I mean, Theodora obviously wants him to choose her. Obviously, is that right?
Somewhat.
Yeah, and of course, along the lines, Sophia kind of helps both Elise and Valentina to get into their roles by wearing her style a little bit. She gives them at least some nice sunglasses that she has in her possession, and gives Valentina her leather jacket because she likes black, her favorite color, and she wears over her latest of dresses later on when she attends the debutante ball thingy.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah. Anyway, so soon enough the ball arrives in question, and she wears this beautiful gown that looks like feathers. Not in a nasty way, I just meant like it looks so beautiful. And of course she's wearing her famous sneakers.
And sneakers.
No, she's not wearing the leather jacket. She gave it to her friend, obviously.
I thought he gave it to Annalise.
Yeah. Violet. Valentine.
Still wearing a sneaker, so.
Yeah.
Very comfy.
Yeah.
And smelly after a while. Yeah.
They start dancing, waltzing around the room, and eventually they take a breather, obviously, and she runs into Santiago, and he takes her to another room, or suggests she suggests
he wants to play silly buggers with her.
Yeah, and she tries to convey the fact that she wants to go home, but he convinces himself that she wants to have him.
have a bit of
But fortunately, Ian comes in the nick of time to save her and nicks the bugger.
And at this time she finds out he didn't have a mobile
Yeah,
phone.
it
He
turns
had a
out.
cigarette case.
Yeah, cigarette cases would have been about that size,
Yeah,
roughly.
bugger.
She should have realised that, being the obsessed Regency Jane Austen era person, she should have realised that's what they would have had back in the day.
Exactly.
I mean, I've seen that sort of thing in so many movies.
My daddy had a cigarette case and he wasn't in the Regency period.
Anyway, the Doctor and Theodora tell Ian maybe it's time for her to leave, and the fact that the Doctor is convinced that Sophia is not out of her mind. He thinks that she would be better off in a mental institute. Is that right?
Yeah, not else. Yeah.
Of course, Sophia overhears this, and she takes this as a chance to flee. And there as she heads out the front door, she runs into Storm, the horse, and realizes that it wasn't
Santiago.
that she has to go to, but it was a horse.
Someone she would recognise. And who was the first person or thing she saw when she arrived in that time?
Yes.
The horse.
She quickly
Storm.
jumps onto the horse and heads with it, and she tells Storm she wants to go back. And of course, Ian is following behind them, and he says he'll never condemn her to a mental health issue. And she continues to tell him that she's not of this world, she doesn't belong here. And soon enough, she arrives back in her present, obviously.
You go some through
a
sort
portal.
of liney, shiny light sort of
Yeah,
portal
a portal
door thing. Yeah.
She arrives there, and Storm is with her, and of course Storm returns to his time, and
goes back to the door. Yeah.
she's still dressed in her Regency dress, obviously, and as she's walking down the street, she contacts Nina and offers her apology and tells her the story of what happened. And of course, her friend believes her, obviously, thinking that she's not completely crazy. And the dress is proof, because she did bring the dress back to her present. And
yeah, exactly right.
Because such a dress,
like, really good.
Yeah. Anyway, she supports the idea that Nina that she should go for it with her.
Come to Australia.
Okay. Provided you learn the language. Anyway.
We talk English.
Oh, yeah, true.
Australian.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, she returns to her publishing life, where she finds out from her editor that her book, has been accepted and will be published. And of course, she feels, I'm not so thrilled about that anymore. It's not. Whoopie-doo. But she also remembers the package that the lady, her fairy godmother, the lady I told you about, who sent her to the Regency era, gave her, and she opens it and finds it's the book that she gives, the Jane Austen book that she had. She brought it with her to the past and gave it to Ian. I should have mentioned this earlier.
That's
sorry,
right. Yeah.
Because they were talking about Jane Austen together, and of course, to them in that time, the Jane Austen book didn't exist. Maybe it was not.
Well, yeah, he liked that sort of writing, but I don't think Jane Austen actually had reached the shelves by in that period that they were in. Yeah.
Anyway, so she opens it and finds a letter inside it.
A letter from him.
From him, and of course the book itself is aged quite a little bit.
It's 800 years old, isn't it?
And
funny, though,
she starts reading it and finding that he misses her, and how he wishes that he would have. He could be part of her time and stuff like that, and she begins to regret that her leaving that time period. Of course,
sad.
She gets a second chance of going back to that period after she bids her friend Nina farewell when she goes off to Australia to live out her life with her boyfriend or her fiance.
It's not a bad place here, eh? Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
Anyway, she soon gets the call from her fairy godmother telling her that she'll give her the chance of going back to the past to make up with Ian. Of course, she goes to the same building, and she climbs up the stairs like she did last time, and soon enough she arrives through the door, and Storm is there to greet her and takes her to the ravine that Ian was fond of. Here she cries out for Ian, and
he wasn't there.
But then soon enough he arrives on his horse, and he approaches her, and they finally make up, and then they kiss and embrace, and
they get a room then.
Then we fade out. The end.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
I know, a bit rush, guys.
Well,
but
there's much else to talk about, really. Yeah.
I mean,
it's one of those nice, fluffy, dull story things,
I mean, it's a lot better than another Regency era type one, which was like another Lost in Austen type, movie. But I thought it was really crummy because I thought, oh, it's so boring. Like it's like winning the lottery, but you don't feel like you won anything.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyway, it feels like that one was a little let down, but this one was a nice one.
Yeah.
I know we've reviewed on this channel a couple of time slip ones, and this is the first time I've actually watched one that's not got a Japanese or or from a manga type story.
Oh, that's all stuff. Yeah.
So it's kind of a refreshing refreshing approach.
It was different, and it came from Brazil, obviously. So it's something we're normally doing things from America or England or somewhere else. But it's good to get another country involved occasionally. That's a good start. And I haven't seen a lot of Brazilian films. Now, if this is any indication of what they can put out, they're not too bad.
Yeah, if their films are as good as anywhere else, then
the European ones,
do well.
the ones that come out of Italy and Spain and other places like that. When this is over in Brazil, and they're just as good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got no problem with it.
I have no problem with it. I like the fact it was a good story and it had a good set of interesting stuff going in it. It makes me think of those awesome romance novels, the ones like the Bridgertons are trying to put out. Literally, in this one, the sex in the scene was not too trashy.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not into this sort of stuff. I don't watch these romantic comedy things. However, I can appreciate the movie itself and the storyline, and the actors were good. Mm-hmm. The storyline was good. The film was good. So anyone who likes this sort of film. Romantic comedy, fantasy, and not worried about being in a foreign language, it's a good view. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. I would not go out of my way to watch it again because, again, it's not my style of film, but I enjoyed watching it.
Well, it's not for. It's mostly it was mostly a female, romance thing.
I just said that.
I know
it's not my type of thing, but I enjoyed watching it. Now, if you have a girlfriend. They might like it, so you sit down there and watch it together. Very romantic. Mm-hmm. It's a good watch. Yeah, there's no chases, there's no zombies, and there's no slasher killers in there, but it's a nice story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
what I'm going to do, I'm going to grade it now because there's not much we can actually say about it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give this about 8.5. Oh, no, I'll give it a 9. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9.5 myself out of it because I do like the story itself, and I like the fact how they took two things like Cinderella and Jane Austen's stuff and pushed it together or smidged it together, obviously.
Whatever.
And I think it's a good approach, obviously. And I'm glad that it was not a complete another rip off of Pride and Prejudice stuff.
It hasn't been rewritten as the same story. It's a different story altogether, which is a change. Let's do Pride and Prejudice for the 50 millionth time.
Yeah.
No, they've actually done a fresh story, good storyline, time jump in it, and different things. It's really, really good. I like it. Yeah, it was fresh.
Yeah, well, other ones I mentioned, like the the Asian ones, naturally, those time slip ones, they naturally just use a different take on the story. They don't well, some of them do the odd we'll remake it into a movie. Others it will turn to a 25 or 12 episode series.
Wasn't there one wasn't it Pride and Prejudice Zombies or something or other?
Yeah, there was.
But that was a new take on it, wasn't it?
It was a different take on it, yeah.
So something different, yeah.
Yeah, they did that, and it was not too bad, obviously.
No, I liked it, yeah.
Of course.
It was a fresh approach. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think when they started doing remakes and reboots, it was fine as lightly, but when it came close to doing more and more and more and more, because it started getting stale after a while.
Yeah, and you don't want stale.
Because most of us want something different to add to our, viewing. Anyway.
Having said that,
talk
about something new. I collect movies, right? Mm-hmm. And right at the moment, I'm putting a film noir file together from movies out of the 50s. Those the old black and white sort of B movies and stuff, and the film noirs. And they had they had some seriously good movies back in those days. Generally dramas with a bit of action, some maybe a little bit of a mystery in it, and maybe a bit of intrigue. Good storytelling, good acting, and good filming for their day. They didn't have AI and all that sort of good stuff, and they just did it. I can't wait to go through it. I think I've got about over 200 in the film noir file at the moment, so I'm going to start watching them soon.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to review the film noir, but like I said, I mean, it's so old it's new again.
True.
So yeah, it's nothing wrong visiting the old films again, because if you haven't seen them for 50 years, I mean, like let's say Forbidden Planet, one of my favourite sci-fis. Now I don't know about America or different streaming services. You don't see it on TV here anywhere. You don't see it, not too many video rental places here anymore, but you can still get it. But who's seen it recently? And it's a top fine sci-fi.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying it's the old stuff. It's so old. It's interesting again.
Yeah. So Mike is digressing as usual.
No, I'm just saying that it's good to see something fresh, and the old stuff's becoming fresh again because people haven't seen it for so long.
Yeah, so anyway, even though this is not a Pride and Prejudice rip-off or anything, I do feel like some characters have the Jane Austen thing. Like Lisa makes me think of the peaceful, calm individuals like Jane Bennet, or the other like nice heroine type girls, obviously, and Theodora comes off as the nasty Miss Bingley type characters who wants to cling to the hero of the story.
You got to have the jealous ones. You got to have
who come off
you got to have the relationship problems.
They come off as the selfish individual who tries to make a mockery of the girl that just happens to appear in the story and tries to make out, I think she's a total yick, and that in the end, in that sort of thing, she kind of makes herself the girl who is being a nasty bitch. Comes off as a bit of an idiot and a bit of a foolhardy, and should have been a much more a supportive character. But then again, this is what life is about. Most of the time you get people who will stab you in the back and others will support you. And I liked our Valentine comes off as was a little bit of a supportive character, like a little bit like Charlotte from Pride and Prejudice, who is a bit of teeny weeny, starts off as a like all the other girls who are trying to please her grandparents, especially her grandmother, who comes off as a little bit of a no-brainer, would you say? Considering her grandma wants her to find the suitable man with the most big bucks, big estates,
big
everything.
Big everything, big money, big estate, big job, big name, big...
Yeah, she reminds me a little bit of Mrs. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice, who's all expecting big things from her daughter. I like the mishmash.
You're going to get married to this guy, whether you like it or not. Okay, mummy dear.
Not in that kind of way. Like, she's the very talkative one. Like, I think your estate is beautiful, Mr. Clarke, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because mummy's programmed her like a little robot. Yeah.
Well, grandma, anyway.
From
what we've heard in her Valentina story is her grandparents are looking after her while her mother and father could have been dead or may have moved on.
Got sick of her.
And, of course, Clarke's backstory was that his mum and dad were dead, so he became sort of the father figure or guardian to his younger sister. Yeah. So that's the whole process.
That's right, he's like a guardian for his younger sister.
Of course, they have an aunt who's not local, obviously, but she kind of pressures him to get married, but we don't see her, obviously. Which would be kind of cool. It would have been great to see what kind of attitude we would have to deal with it with such an nasty aunt.
Well,
she might turn out to be one of those lady from Pride and Prejudice, where she's a proud upstart type of aunt to Darcy, and expects a lot from him, like marry the most wealthy individual person with the best dress, best hair, and the best everything. Obviously, it's like I do wonder if any of those marriages ever worked out. Probably didn't.
Probably not.
They were probably mostly just business dealings. Like, like you have a business dealing where you have to do some business with people and you have to make a deal, which means...
Let's make a deal.
In their case, they would just marry off to their children to business people in hopes of making financial good decisions, which doesn't always work out.
Something like that, yes.
Anyway, so that's
we have graded it.
We've graded it. Now it's up to you guys to actually sit down and watch it.
I'll just recap on where you get it from. So if you didn't listen up early on, now it was released on Star Plus and Disney Plus. Okay, you can't get it on eBay. Can't get it on Amazon. It may be available somewhere else. Don't know. I don't check every site. But you can also find it on YouTube. Okay, so it's called Perdida, Perdida, yeah, I think you can get it on YouTube quite easily. I think we got ours on YouTube, didn't we?
We got it from YouTube. Yeah. I mean, it was difficult to find anywhere else, like Mike's pointed out or read to me.
I mean, occasionally I know I'm not supposed to say this, but sometimes I'll actually go on and download a torrent if I can't find a thing. I'm not going to buy every movie, obviously. And obviously I do it just for the reviews and I get rid of them. But the point still remains is sometimes they're really bloody hard to get. So what do you do? YouTube, quality's not too bad. You can watch it and enjoy it. But it is in a foreign language and it is subtitled. Okay, remember, it's subtitled.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go then.
So that's that particular movie. I'm not going to say the name, obviously. Perdida. And so it's now time for us to head off. So thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. And we'll see you guys for our next one, which I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next. I'm not sure if we're going to do another episode of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Season 2 yet.
Actually, we're going to be watching Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
We may watch that next soon. And then do the second season.
Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh.
Because I've been wanting to watch the second one of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey for a long time.
The first one.
Because some people thought it was terrible because I think the reason it was so terrible was the fact people were kind of shocked about the whole process of their childhood friend, Winnie the Pooh, is going to go into a horroristic slasher period.
I like the idea, but I think they could have done more with it.
I agree with you.
They could have been a bit more bloodthirsty instead of a guy walking around with a bare head on and that sort of stuff. And it just didn't have that, what's the word I'm for? The fear factor.
Yeah, my theory is that people don't like it when they take their childhood characters from their childhood and turn them into something deranged and something dark.
What was the thing we saw last year? Was it those robots?
I think you're talking about the Banana Splits.
Banana Splits, yeah. Now that was good.
That was another childhood one, which
really
I don't recall because it was before my time.
Yeah, but I like Banana Splits gone troppo, and start killing people.
It's not just like bad. If someone did one of Humphrey Bear,
that's Australian.
That was Australian, and that was been around my time. And if they went ahead and made such a dark character, I don't think I would be annoyed by it. I just think that's a welcome change.
Yeah, it's something different. Give them more than one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
Give them a bit more personality.
Taking an ordinary thing or taking an ordinary type of thing, like the Chucky doll, they based it around another doll that was probably around the 80s or the 70s period, and they made their own version of it to tell a story.
Not the speed of toys back in those days when Chucky was being made, but that was probably based on a real doll, or they've designed a doll similar to something that was already on the market, and then the Chucky dolls became popular.
I think that there were like a few 80s or 70s dolls that came out around that time, and that's where Wes Craven, was it Wes Craven? One of the guys there decided to make their own version of that type of doll. Of course, they could not use the present doll that was popular at the moment, because that would mean taking a doll that children are familiar with and turning into something horrible.
Creepy.
And at the time, it would have gotten parents and children alike the impression that this movie was not harmful. But then again, they did have M and other, the usual the themes that usually come with certain movies, or you see classified M, G, parent, PG rated
mature,
stuff.
PG, yeah.
13, whatever, under 13, whatever, stuff like that. It would have been a dead giveaway, obviously. I remember one time when I went to a horror movie one time, and it was in one of those community theatre thingy wings. It was in South Bank or South Brisbane,
right.
and it was doing a fairy tale theme, movie thing, and it was doing the Company of Wolves.
Okay, yeah.
And I saw a bunch of parents with their children, about 6 or 7 years of age ones.
And they think, it's Red Riding Hood story. No, it ain't.
Yeah, and I had a similar experience not too long ago with my niece and nephew when we watched Beetlejuice, and I saw how creeped out by the kids in the audience when they watched Company of Wolves.
Yeah. Her niece and nephew, my grandchildren, 7 and 9, and the little boy's 7 years old, was watching it, and that part where they're coming into the foyer of the office area for all the ghouls are, the dead people are, and he got a bit scared of all the creepy people in there and stuff.
I think he was more creeped by the sandworm. I think when I was little.
I don't know, but yes, he came out. I got 2 or 3 different stories, but he got all his ghosts and people. The guy had a fork through his throat, and somebody had a shrunk head, and the lady was cut in half. And he had a corridor. They walked down there, go back home, and had.
Well, we didn't get that far. We didn't get that far. We only got to the reception room, and that was when we stopped. Paused the movie, and the kids got.
Yeah, he was crying.
Yeah. My nephew was the scared most,
He's a sweetheart.
And my niece was directly followed. Of course, later on we had to watch something a little bit more to their level.
So we're going to do something light. We're going to let them watch Casper next time.
Yes.
And then maybe Haunted Mansion, maybe. What else?
Well, we can always watch Corpse Bride.
No, they've seen that.
They've already seen that one. But at least it's something they've seen
something nicer.
before.
Milo and Otis might be nice. No.
I could never get them to sit long enough to watch that, obviously.
It's a bit boring. No,
anything that doesn't get them
Peter Pan?
sticking.
Peter Pan?
Which one?
The one of Robin Williams.
Hook, you mean?
Yeah, Hook. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
But
that's okay.
as I've said,
that's a little bit scarier than the mean pirate guy. There's nothing really major.
As I said before, it usually depends on the kid, and my niece and nephew are hard to please when it comes to.
They say, "I want to get something scary and really creepy," and you give them something scary and creepy, and they start crying.
And if it's something that deals with cartoons, they're like, no.
So we've seen Scooby-Doo. No, he's boring.
When you mention it to them, they tend to. They don't really care about cartoons. I mean, at least it's enlightened alternative to the alternative stuff.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm not even sure what will happen if I ever showed them.
Ghost Breakers.
No.
Nothing good. I like Bob Hope.
For starters, that's the most. While that one mostly would take my attention away, obviously, take my interest, I don't think it would take Amelia Mark's, interest.
That's not creepy enough.
It would not. Yeah. They would not even respond to the comedy. They'll probably think that's boring.
That's true.
They're not into one-liners or punchlines. They probably won't understand when you say something funny, and they won't understand the punchline.
Anyway, you want to kill us now?
Yes. So you guys know where to find this movie, and we've told you time and time again what places you can find it in. So it's up to you guys to actually sit down and watch the thing. So, by the way, before we head off, we might be next time. We'll be on this channel. We may be looking at watching the new Beetlejuice movie. So we might post some photos of us watching it, but don't worry. No spoilers.
When we're seeing that?
I think it was going to be on the 7th of September. So that would be next month.
We do these a couple of times a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead. So
yeah. I probably mentioned it already that I'm trying to avoid watching photos or spoiler alerts, trailers or clips.
Yes, we don't
to
want to see
avoid getting.
You want to go with a fresh head and say this is really good or this is really bad.
Yes. I want to keep it as fresh in my head as keep away from anything that will give me, an Easter egg, or not so an Easter egg, too much of revealing the story in my head.
Yeah, we get the whole Easter bunny and it'd be very boring, hey?
Yes, it would be.
Anyway, do you want to kill it now,
Yes.
dearest little one?
So that's about it from us, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you enjoy the next one coming up. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around, boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now and have a good week.
Bye, guys.